Hi, this is Joshua from Jay's Designs and welcome back to my channel. So at the end of this video, we should be able to create this portrait that you see here. We should be able to create this after going through the essential tools and some other little tips in Photoshop. So let's get going. Basically, let me just clear up my my board here so we can start from scratch. Alright, so what we'll do, I'll just get rid of all of this and I will start from scratch. So the first thing you want to do to create a new document or open a new file in Photoshop, you can either drag and drop a file into Photoshop like this, or if you don't want to do that, you can always go to File and create a new file. Alright, so for this tutorial we'll be creating a new file. So when you select file, you select create a new document, you'll be brought to this window where you will basically set the size of your document and what you want the document to be named. I will just name this test 1, and I'll be using inches for my size, and I'm better with inches as measurement. So we'll be creating a 5 by 5, and we want to set the resolution to as high as possible, so we set a 300 resolution. So select OK, and we'll be brought to this window where we have just created our new document. So now that we have a new document, let's go through the most commonly used tools. We won't be going through all the tools in Photoshop because you know Photoshop is loaded and it has a lot of tools. So we'll be going through the most commonly used tools in Photoshop. Alright, so first off, let me unlock this background. When you create a new file or a new document in Photoshop, it automatically comes with the background locked. Not sure why they do this, but it always comes with the background lock. What you can do is just simply click this lock and you will get it unlocked. So we unlock this background, so we will be able to move the layer around. On this tab, this is called the Layers tab. As you can see here, this is called the Layers tab, and this eyeball right here, if you click it, it will make the layer that you click the eyeball on, it will make it invisible or transparent. So we want to turn this on so we can see the layer, and let's go through some of the basic tools. So the first tool we have here is the Move tool. The Move tool, as its name suggests, Move tool, it is used to move around the layers wherever you want it. So once you click the Move tool, you just click on wherever the layer is, whichever layer is selected here, whichever layer you select here, that's the layer you will be moving around. So we can click on it, you can move it, leave it there, click and drag it here, click and drag it here, click and drag it here, we can drag it wherever we want. So that is basically the Move tool. And to bring it back to where it was, you would press Ctrl or Command Z if you're using a MacBook. And this here we have the Marquee. This is a selection tool. This is just plain selection, but this is the rectangular selection tool. You also have a circular, you have a single row, you have a single column. It's most commonly used the rectangular or the circular selection to make a selection just like that. You can make the selection and you can hit delete and it will remove that selection. You want to undo that by pressing Command Z, and undo that, or Control Z if you're using a Windows computer. To undo that, if we use the circle selection tool, it would be something like this. You can select whatever. If we want to do a sphere, if we want to do a circle. And a trick to this is, if we want a perfect circle, all we have to do is hold on to Shift and click and drag, and we will get a perfect circle just like that. And we can also delete that, remove it, we can copy it and move it as a different layer, whatever we want to do. But we'll go through more of that as we go on in this learning series. So the next tool we have here is, we call it the polygonal tool. It's also a selection tool, but it allows you to select in different directions, whatever direction you want to select in. This allows you to select in whatever shape. It's just that wherever you start, you have to end it there to make it connect. So whatever shape you make, you always have to come back here. When you see that little circle on the end, you just click it and it will select it for you. And you can also delete that. You can click it and drag it away, or whatever you want to do with it. So this is basically just another selection tool. This right here now is another selection tool, and it's a mainly used selection tool. It's called the quick selection tool, and we have the magic selection tool. Just to show what the quick selection tool can do, we'll just drag this image here and we'll place it there, and we'll use the quick selection tool. The quick selection tool, what it basically does is allows you to click and drag and select wherever you move the mouse. It will allow you to cover that area. So we want to make a selection like this, and say for instance we just want to select this and move it away. We can always select this area here, and we can just copy the layer if we want, move it away, then we have another layer like that. So yeah, this is mainly used for when you're removing backgrounds from images and so on, and other stuff depending on what you really want to do with it. The magic selection tool now is basically almost the same, but what the magic selection tool does is it selects similar colors on the layer. So say for instance I want to select this leaf, it will most likely select the green area of this, and it will not select in the white area. But if I select in the white area, it will select all the white area and leave all the other areas that are not in the similar color as where I selected. So wherever I selected, it will select similar colors that are close by. So if I select here, it will select all the pink in there, but wherever there's no pink, it would not make a selection. Okay, next we have the crop tool. The crop tool is basically just used for cropping. If you want to make an image smaller, if you want to make it bigger, then you just select it. You just move the edges to whatever selection you want to be left with. You can move it around. There's another great tip that the crop tool can do, but we'll go over it in coming videos. We will go over it. So if I want to resize this to something like this, then I will just select that and hit enter, and I'll be left with that. It will be cropped out, but I don't want to do that right now. So yeah, let's continue. This is the eyedropper tool. The eyedropper tool is basically to select a color to put in your foreground. This right here is your foreground color. Whatever color is here, that's the color that you would use for your brush. That's the default color that will come in your text and so on. So you select any area here, you will notice the color here changes. So if you select this pink area, it turns pink. You select the green, it turns green. You select the cream area, it turns green. You select the white, it turns white. Wherever you select, that's the color it will come up with. The next tool we will look at is the brush tool. The brush tool, as you might know, is just a paintbrush tool. So you can select the brush tool, and up here you have the size of the brush. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, you can select the different type of brush that you want. It will give you a different kind of texture when you paint with it. So say for instance I select this brush to try and use it, and I increase the size. Then I select the color I want it to be like red, and I try to paint over this. It might not allow me to paint it because this layer is what they call it a smart image, so it won't allow me to paint on it. But if I rasterize it as it asks me here, click OK, then it will allow me to paint over it. So if I paint over it, that's the type of brush. If I select a different type of brush stroke, it will give me something like that. And you can play around with this and see which brush you want to use for it, depending on what you'll be doing. But I'm not going to be using the brush tool in this video, so let's go on. The next tool we have here that we'll be looking at is the eraser tool. Eraser tool, just as you might know an eraser and what an eraser is used for. An eraser is used for rubbing out. That's what it's used for. So if we select the eraser tool and we drag it across here, you notice it rubs all of that out. If you rub, then it cleans everything up. Alright, so that's the eraser tool, but you also have the magic eraser tool. The magic eraser tool is basically something similar to the magic selection tool, where the magic selection tool will select in the areas with similar color. The magic eraser tool will erase with wherever you click the magic eraser tool, it will erase all the areas that has a similar color. So for example, I click right in here, it will try to eliminate all the pink that is close to the pink that I select, like this. It tries to delete all of that pink color right there, but that's all it could get to based on the color of the pink area that I selected. And if I click here, it will try to delete all the green that is closest to the green area I selected. Basically, that's what it does. It's a magic eraser tool, and this is very good for when you're cutting images or when you're removing images from their backgrounds and you have a plain background. This is a very handy tool because this will just get rid of all the background as long as the background has the same color. Then it will remove most of it, and then you will just have to clean up the edges afterwards. The next tool here is the blur tool. The blur tool is used for blurring. Right, so just as you look at this image here, and this part of the image looks blurry and this part looks perfectly fine, the blur tool is what you can use. You can change the size of it just the same. You can change the size of the blur tool here, and you can just select in the area here, and if you rub this long enough, you will realize it keeps on getting blurry, and blurry. Alright, so that's the blur tool, and you have the sharpen tool. The sharpen tool is used to sharpen the edges of wherever you use it. So if I change the size here to about 200 and I try to sharpen this, if you notice the edges of what I'm rubbing, is getting sharper and sharper and sharper and sharper and sharper and sharper until it gets ugly. Alright, so that's the sharpen tool. And here we also have the smudge tool. The smudge tool is used like a kind of distorted way to kind of drag it, you know. Yeah, so you can do some nice designs using the smudge tool. I don't really use it a lot, but you can play around with it and find different things you like to do with the middle start with it. Okay. So yeah, you can play around with the smudge tool and see what you can get best from that. the next set of tools, we have the burn tool, the dodge tool, and the sponge tool. Well, the burn tool, one of them mainly used for me, is to kind of burn the image. Makes the image looks burnt. If you realize I'm clicking here and it keeps getting darker, like, you know, like it's on fire, it's burning. Yeah, so that's pretty much the blur tool. And we have the dodge tool, which brings it a bit lighter. Instead of burning, it brings up the midtones and the highlights in it a lot. You realize it's getting brighter and brighter and brighter. Yeah, that's the dodge tool. We'll be looking at the pen tool. Well, the pen tool is a fun tool for me. I mostly use it when I'm cutting images out from their backgrounds, which we'll be doing a video with different ways to cut images from their backgrounds. You will be notified as soon as that video drops. So using the pen tool, you can make selections, like say for instance I want to cut these flowers out. I'll go close in on the edge, and then wherever I click and drag to go around the edges. You want to click and drag around the edges as much as you can. Yeah, and if you're in a point where you want to change the angle, you just hold on to Alt or Option. You can turn the angle and it will change the direction for you. Right? So basically this is how you use the pen tool to make selections. If you make a mistake, you can always press Command Z or Control Z and it will undo that for you. So if you can make a selection right around this. I'm just doing this just to show you how the tool works. So I'm gonna kind of cut it off here. So if I make this selection right here and I right click and select make selection, I hit enter and I press Command J or Control J, which will make a copy of this layer and add an additional layer right here. There you go. You see now if I turn off the eyes on this layer, which was the main layer that we were working on, you will realize bam, it disappears. Now we are left with what we just cut out. Now if I made a perfect selection going right around, then you know it would look much better, but this is just for the purpose of showing you what the tool can do. So we want to turn our layer back on, and I'm going to just remove that layer that I just cropped out. Next tool is the text tool. This is like the mainly used tool ever in Photoshop. This is to write words or make sentences, right? Whatever you want to write, you know. So I want to write love. So it will look something like that. I can just write it, and here I can change the size of it. Make it bigger, make it smaller. I can change the color of it here. Put in whatever color I want. And right here, in most fonts, different font styles, you will have different styles. Like if it's regular, bold, you know, you will be able to change it there. And this is the character tab, where you can space the letters far apart and put them in wherever you want to do. But this is just showing you the text tool. So mainly the text tool, you just want to get familiar with it. You want to play around with it a bit, write a few stuff, type a few stuff, you know, make a few different layers with them, you know. So say for instance I want to make God is love. I make this text layer, and if I hold on to Command or Control and click and drag it, I can move it wherever I want to put it. So I put this here, and I'm going to create the next one. So I click again, type type it out, then I select it, then I'm gonna reduce the size down a bit, and I'm gonna move it by holding Command or Control and clicking and drag it, move it around to where I want it to be. Then I'm going to go to another layer called Love, and I will make this one bigger. So something like that, and there we got a little God's love. We can select all of them if we want to move all the layers at once. Instead of moving them one by one, we can just hold on to Control and we select the layers by clicking them that we want. So you see all 3 layers are selected here, so we can hold Command and click and drag this and put it wherever we want. And we can also transform this, meaning we can change the size of it. If we hold on to Command T, it will allow us to scale the image, which we can just drag from the corner, and we can make this image, we can make this fit wherever we want it to go. So yeah, that's it's a very fun tool to use. You can style your words, use different fonts, change them around, play with them a little bit, just to get familiar with them, and you can play with it and see which one best suits you. So yeah, that's the text tool. And the shape tool is, I use the shape tool sometimes, but not really much. Sometimes I just draw my own shapes, and but this is the shape tool. It allows you to, it gives you a list of tools. You can go to custom tools as well, and it will up here you can select a different shape of tools. These are the ones that comes with the Photoshop. Not much, but so you want to select the heart, and it will make you click and drag and do a shape of the heart. And you can double click the heart in the heart right here. That allows you to change the color. You can change it to whatever color you please. You can play around with it, and you can make some nice stuff. You can make some stuff like some little heart butterfly thing, whatever you want to make it. It's pretty much up to you and what you want to create. You just gotta play around with it and see what you want and what you want to do. Yeah, so you just gotta play around with the tools. Now that you got an introduction to what the tools does and what they can do, you can play around with them a bit. And as I told you before, this is your foreground color, which whatever color is here will be your default color for your brushes, your default color for your text, your default color for your shapes, and so on. So whatever color you want your text, your brush, or your shapes to be in, you would select it here, and that would be your default color even when you type something, right? So yeah, those are the essential tools, the most essential tools. So what we're going to do now is we are going to try and create this image right here. I don't remember where. Yeah, this is where I have it. This image right here. This is very simple, very straightforward. But now that we have known some of the basic tools, we will try our best to make this image. You on your end, you can get your laptop up, you can open up your Photoshop, and if it's your very first time, this will be maybe a little bit complicated for you. If you have played around with Photoshop a little bit before, it might be very much easier for you. So this is the image we're trying to get. This image with this rose, I'm going to put the link in the description, so if you want to use this same picture, you can use it. If you don't, you can use whatever image you want. It does not really matter. So basically, I'm going to start from a blank document, and I will just grab my image from here, and I would drop it onto my document. When I drop it onto my document and this square comes up, this is basically just helping me to place the image in a proper place. So I can move it around, I can resize it, make it big, make it small, whatever I want it to be. So I will go about this size and I will hit enter, and that's pretty much my position. Maybe we want to pull it down a bit, so you can hold on to command or control and you can pull it down. I pull mine down a bit. So if you look right here, you would notice where the image stops on the document, there's a line right here. This is the line from the image itself. If I make a selection, you realize this is the selection of the image that I just added. But I want that to, I don't want to see the line there, I want it to fade in. So what I do is I will select the eraser tool and I will blend out the edges. So what I want to do is I want to rasterize my image because it's a smart object. So at first I want to rasterize the image so that it doesn't give me any problems when I try to rub the edges. And I will rub the edges so that it fades in a bit. So you click from here, come right across, boom, voila, beautiful. So now you notice you can see where the image stops. No, nothing like that. Great. So now that we have that done, the next thing to do is to grab our text tool. Grab our text tool and we will start to write. So the first thing on the first thing we want to write is live, because on the other image it says live, love, and smile. So we're gonna write live. So L-I-V-E. And then I select it, and the font that I'll be using for the live is called Bebas, B-E-B-A-S. You can download that font. It's actually free. You can download it. And this is kind of big, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna size it down a bit. Awesome. Good. Size it down to that, and the characters don't want so much spaces between them. So what I'll do is I will bring the characters in. That's too much. Yes, that's perfect. So I'm gonna place this here. The next thing I want to write is love. Love. And the font I'm gonna use for this is called Homework. You should be able to find this very easily as well. The Homework font, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the size and make it bigger. So I'm pulling up the text size to a pleasing size. Yeah, and it seems like it may be irritated. You can play around with it. See what's best for you, what you like most. What you like may not be what I like, what I like may not be what you like. So, play around with it, see what you prefer. So now we got live, love. Now we gotta add a smile. So we add a smile right here. And I'll make it a little bit smaller so that it fits between the L and the V right here. Perfect. Okay, so I believe the colors are pretty much different. The colors on the other one, I believe it was pink and a lighter shade of pink. So we're gonna put it in a pink color. And remember earlier when we were going to the eyedropper tool? We'll be using the eyedropper tool for this. So first we want to change the color of the live. So we select live, we come to the color picker up here, we select it, and the eyedropper tool automatically comes up when we select the color picker. Wherever we click this eyedropper tool, the color will appear here, and if we select OK, then the word that we selected will change to that color. So right here we're gonna put this to a shade of pink. Let me see about here, and then the color comes there. That looks a bit dark, so find the lighter part there. Looks a little bit better. Let me see again. Let me check out here. It's a little bit lighter, so let's see how this looks. Voila! It changes it. Pretty pink, right? Okay, so we're gonna change the logo. You know, we're gonna change the logo. We're gonna change the color of the logo, rather. So we do the same thing. We select the color picker here. The eyedropper tool comes up. Whatever color you want it to be, you just select it there, and the color is shown here. It might not appear here right away, depending on the version of Photoshop you use. It might not appear here right away, but it will show here the color that will be there. So you select it and you select OK. Now if in this case we want the smile to be the same color as one of this, we can copy the color number for one of these layers and we can paste it in the color number for the smile. Now let me show you what that is. First you select the live right here, so we want to put it in the color of the live. Select the live, we select the color picker, and this is the color number. So if we select this and we copy it, if we copy this number right here, select it, and we copy this number right here, copy, we select OK, and we come to smile, we select the color picker, and right here that is highlighted, we want to paste our color number. Then we want to paste our color number, and then we will have the same color as the label. Awesome, right? To top this off, I will add my signature. You can add your signature to yours. I will add my signature at the bottom right here. Chambers, and I will use a signature from use this one, and I'll reduce the size down. No, that one too small. Now this is perfect, and I will put it in. So I got the color picker and I'll put it in black. Perfect. And I just signed my work. Awesome, right? So this is quite easy. Didn't take a lot of time. As long as you know your tools, you know what to do, how to use the tools, then this is quite easy. In our next video, we will be looking at some adjustments and go a little more into knowing about layers in Photoshop, and we'll be doing some adjustments to some images, and we will also be doing some placement of images on a portrait. So stay tuned and we will see you in the next video.